Welcome to our practice today. Our practice today will be all about not holding on too tightly and in some cases even letting go. So for the practice today, we need a lot of props. Don't stress if you don't have them. Take whatever there is. So a blanket, 2 blocks if you have them, perhaps a couple of books instead. Then a bolster. So I've got my bolster here, but not everyone has one at home. So the alternative to the bolster will be a chair, a bench, a couch. So have your sink, 2 blocks, if you have, books representing them, and a blanket as well as a bolster. Now to start with, we won't need any of it. So just coming down to lie on your back. As you lie down, you might use the blanket already and place it underneath the head. You might begin with your feet on the ground, softening the shoulders, the shoulder blades down, have little wiggles, settle yourself in, as if you're nestling in. Sometimes I compare these movements with those of a cat who's kneading its way into the perfect spot. You might allow your arms to be restful, even drop away from the body. The upper arms just out of touch with the side ribs. If your back is very sore, you might keep your knees bent, have your feet rather wide, perhaps as wide as the mat even, and letting your knees fall in. That would be a constructive resting pose. You're welcome to adjust the width of the feet to your personal needs. And if it is very comfortable, you might allow your legs to slide out long. Same as in Shavasana, you would allow them to slightly roll apart. Again, this is about comfort, not precision and line up. So you might need a few more wiggles to get yourself into place. You might take a look up to the ceiling. Turn the head to one side while you breathe in, have a look on your side. A breath out to center the head. And on the inhale, turning the head to the other side, having a look here. And then the out breath, center again. Knowing what is above, feeling what is underneath, and knowing what's around you. You may be able to close your eyes. If this is challenging, keep the gaze steady towards the ceiling. And simply allow to be for a few gentle breaths that naturally flow in and out of your nose. With the breath flowing through the nostril and your awareness resting with your breath. We will start sighing, but to be able to sigh, we might need a deeper breath in. So slowly inhale through the nostrils, and then practice a soft sigh out. Then breathe in again slowly through the nostrils, and perhaps the sigh becomes a bit heavier. Double sound add into it. You might increase the depth of your sighing. Each time before you sigh, you take a deep, slow breath in through the nostrils, and then sighing the breath out from the mouth. As you do so, you could even add more voice to it and make it a louder sigh. Ah. Sometimes the sound added to the sighing helps further releasing and relaxing. Once you've practiced the sighs for just a couple more rounds, Pause for a moment and breathe naturally in and out of the nostrils. Perhaps you already notice some difference. Difference just in your breath, difference in your awareness, perhaps a difference in the physical body, or maybe even within your emotional being. You may now choose to return to the favorite way of sighing, or as you breathe in deeply, on the out breath, blowing the air out of your mouth. So perhaps you try this variation where you inhale deeply as well and then blow the air out of the mouth. Notice how that feels, and then decide whether you prefer a sigh in whatever tonation and intensity you like, or whether you prefer to blow the air out on the out breath. Trying to keep the sighing or blowing out to a reasonable intensity, so it stays like any pranayama or breathing practice within reason, so there's no strain or stress arising. As you continue now sighing or blowing the air out, you might add thoughts to it. On each inhalation, bring in lightness and light. On each out breath, release the grip on whatever you might be holding on, or even let go. So a breath in to bring in lightness and light. A breath out to release or let go. As you continue that, you might find there's several things that you would like to release from your being. You could keep it physical as we practice here on the mat. You could add some elements of your being or your life. Keep inhaling lightness and light and breathing out to release any holds and grips or a complete let go. Continue that for a few more breaths. One last round coming up. After which you continue breathing naturally back in and out of the nose. Noticing once more what is happening within the different areas of your being, the different parts that make you up as a human. Notice if part of that was also released from your mind. And pretty sure, as we all hold on to quite a lot, that there could potentially be more. So perhaps setting the intention of letting go for the duration of this practice or even beyond, as you might repeat whatever it is you would like to let go of or the general focus silently to yourself 3 times. After which, if your legs are extended, you bend the knees and place the feet down onto the ground. You might generally wiggle a little bit from side to side, perhaps lifting your buttocks and rocking over the pelvis slightly. Then bringing both knees in towards the chest and give them a squeeze in. Placing now one hand upon each kneecap. And as you breathe in, push your knees forward and away from you. And as the out-breath starts, open the knees to either side and circle them back in towards your chest. Inhaling, push the knees away. Exhaling, circling them out and drawing them in towards the chest. Inhaling, push knees away. Exhaling, circle them out and draw them in. Repeat that in your own pace for a little while. Last round coming up. Keeping your knees drawn in towards the chest, but changing the hold to the right knee only. Squeeze that in. You might place your left foot down onto the floor or extend the left leg out onto the mat. If it's an extension, turn the toes upwards. And exhale to perhaps lift nose towards the knee. Releasing head and upper body back down and taking a hold with the opposite hand of the knee, the right arm gently rolling out to your side. And on the exhale, keep both shoulders on the floor and guide your knee across the body. You might support here with the hand underneath or on top of the knee. And take a good deep breath. Sighing in this practice is extremely welcome, so breath can come out from the mouth. And when you inhale, bring this knee back into center. Bring the second knee back up towards the chest. Give both knees a good hug and squeeze. Then change the hold to the left knee. Placing right foot down onto the floor, or even extending the right leg out. And the same here, flex the foot, toes to the ceiling if you're extending. Option, out breath, nose to knee. Releasing upper back, head back down to the floor. Opposite hand onto the knee. Left arm might gently roll out to the side. On the out breath, bring your knee across for a twist. Same here. You might support with the hand above or below the knee. Taking a deep breath in and out. Option, exhalation from the mouth. Slowly rolling again onto the back after your breath. Keep the knee over the chest. Add your second knee again, and once more give both knees a good squeeze. Option, out breath, nose between the knees. Releasing upper back and head. Bring one hand back upon each kneecap. As you exhale, bring the knees deeply in towards the chest. And as you inhale, open the knees to either side, circle them away, bring them back together. And on the exhale, bring your knees back in towards the chest, elbows closed. So inhaling, we're circling knees open and away. On the out breath, drawing the knees in with the elbows closed by the side. Inhale, come out wide. Exhale, drawing in. Continue again in the pace of your own breath. We've now reversed the circles of the knees. Last round coming up. You could then embrace your knees one more time with your arms and hands and could rock for a moment from side to side. When completed, you could choose to, as we often do, rock forward and backwards to come to sit, or roll over to your side and come to a similar result. Once you come up to sit, please decide for yourself, can you sit in a kneeling position? If you can, no problem. If you can't, please use blanket, blocks, or even bolster to support. If you do have a bolster, there's a very comfortable position, kneeling down, where you cradle the bolster between your knees and sit on it. A cushion will do, or alternatively, as you come to kneel, placing the block between the feet on the second highest setting, for some maybe the highest setting. So whatever chosen position you're attempting, again, take these little wiggles to find a bit of comfort. Lifting up through the spine is what is really important, rather than where your legs are positioned. If you're sitting without the bolster, your knees are rather close, and obviously with the bolster between, they're a bit wider. Taking a deep breath in, reach your arms out and up. If your shoulders allow, perhaps even lift your gaze. And then draw the hands down towards heart center. Resting the thumbs perhaps lightly towards the sternum. Your gaze at this point might be forward and steady, or you could close the eyes. Perhaps visualizing the elephant deity Ganesha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. To chant the mantra, to connect with Ganesha. Ganesha there to help us overcome obstacles. In the sense, letting things be, letting go. As you start to twist your hands, so the right hand stays close to your chest and you turn them, still touching, so that your fingers are now turned towards the elbows. Then slide the fingers closer and hook them up. The right thumb is looking down, the left thumb is looking up. Now you might have a bit of tension in the shoulders. Please soften the shoulders down and bring the hands rather close towards heart center or the lower part of your sternum. Keeping that soft. Now this is Ganesha Mudra. As you breathe in, Pull your hands apart, but don't let them. Just pull. Bring strength into shoulders, arms, upper back. As you breathe out, soften it. Eyes closed. So steady breathe in, pull tension. Then exhale to soften it all. Repeat that for a few times as you imagine the grip that whatever you want to let go of is a stronghold. And when you breathe out, let that go. So the pulling to acknowledge the pull, the grip, and the breathing out to let it go and soften. Repeat that with the thought in your mind for a few more rounds. Last round. As you release the grip and bring the palms back to touch Anjali Mudra in front of your chest. Take an inhale where you might reach your arms up and perhaps the gaze travels along. On the out breath, let the arms circle out and release the energy down. Fingertips might touch the floor on either side. Pause for a moment and allow that downward flow of energy, mainly coming from the head, neck, shoulders, down the arms, but perhaps you also feel that traveling down comfortably into the earth or the support on which you're sitting. Lifting right arm up on the breath in. On the out breath, come into side bend. Roll arm and shoulder down. Release fingertips to the floor. Curl up and breathe in to extend the other arm. Exhaling, finding back into your side bend. Rolling forward and down, fingertips to the floor, curl up through the spine, a breath in to lift the first arm again. Out breath, side bend. Roll it forward, curl it up, and inhale, lifting second arm. Out breath, side bend. In breath, roll it forward, fingertips touch. Curl up, breath out. Inhale, lift first arm, last round. Exhaling, side bend. Roll forward, soft breath in. Roll up to breathe out. Lift the arm, inhaling, exhaling, side bend. Roll back forward and down while you breathe in. Roll up while you're breathing out. Lift your shoulders up, take an inhale, drop them on the exhale. We'll repeat that a couple of times, breathing in. And one last time, breath in. Kind of as if we're shrugging the burden off our shoulders. Let's take an inhale, lifting the arms one more time. On the breath out, bring the hands down towards the floor. Lift your hips up. If you were sitting on your heels, this movement will be easy. Otherwise, swing your feet out. I will now remove the bolster. You can just push that to the side or your other sitting support. Landing on your hands and knees. Starting to ground through the feet, the hands spread out. Inhaling in your neutral spine. Big breath out, and it can come from the mouth into the calf. For the inhale, maybe keep it neutral or lift your tail and gaze, back bending. Exhaling, push it away, rounding the spine. Let's continue that for a few more. Cat and cow, Vidalasana, inhaling back bend or straight, and our breath around into the cat. Last round. Keep the roundedness and let your buttocks sink back towards the heels. Need support between the legs, place blanket there or your bolster. You might start to wiggle your knees a bit wider if that suits your body, bringing big toes together, and maybe your arms extend forward as you bring the head down towards the ground. If you need to float to keeping your spine long, then lifting up onto the fingertips and lengthening forward. Walking your hands across towards the right knee, and then surrendering over your right thigh as you fold down. Head could rest, or you could support it by fists. You might even bring the left arm from the center further across. Trying to stay grounded through both of the heels, buttocks leaning against them. Deep breaths over your left-hand side. Same here, lots of sighing available if it is useful. Then lifting back up onto the fingertips, walking the hands over the mat towards the left-hand side and leaning over the left side. Option to support the head with this. Right arm could reach way beyond, going deeper into the right side of the body as a stretch. Keeping hips leaning against both heels, and perhaps a deep breath over the right-hand side. Sigh out your option. As you come back up onto the fingertips, walking the hands again into the center. And as you inhale, lifting your hips back away from your heels, bringing the knees in a little bit closer so they're better aligned with the hips. And as you next inhale, lifting your right arm up, opening to the side. On the out breath, round your arms through. You might come to rest on the side of the head. Perhaps there's a block underneath. Shoulder might come to the ground too. As your ears resting towards the floor, you could leave your left hand under the shoulder, encouraging shoulder up, or do other things with that left arm. You might now choose to listen to the earth or listen within. If you change your left arm, place the hand back down. Take a breath in to guide you back up onto your hands and knees. With your next inhale, lifting the left arm, turning open, round the arm through and reach back for thread the needle position. Same here, block might be useful, perhaps resting to the floor. Right shoulders back, whether you use the hand where it is or change it, it's a choice. Listening back to self or the earth. Using the right hand as you push yourself back up or forward. Walk the hands a little bit further forward. Start to lean the hips forward. If it's suitable, allow your hips to lower and lift your heart forward. If not, maintain a plank. Deep breath in. As you breathe out, round the spine, tuck the toes under, and start to walk the hands back towards your knees. We will come to a stand. If a crouching position is a little bit much, please extend the legs straight away, folding forward. Alphas, uncurl the spine to rise to a stand. Give the shoulders a little lift as you inhale and shrug them down as you're breathing out. So finally, we come into our first mountain pose. I suggest, however, to bring the feet rather close, even to touch. Take an inhale, reaching the arms up, bringing the hands down to heart center and the body into chair pose, bending knees and hips. Keep a length in the spine, a supported stance, and turn the hands against the right hand stays closed, fingers point to the elbows. Start to hook up your fingers and create a gentle pull grip. Inhale here. As you exhale, pull up with your left arm and start a twist. Keep your knees squeezing together. If you like to come lower, you might even place your elbow down. Keep pulling upwards into a deep twist. Release the pull, inhale. Extend yourself all the way upwards. A breath out to soften back, mountain pose. Inhaling, reaching arms back up, hands to touch, chair pose, hands landing at heart center. Staying here, right hand stays closed for this mudra, turn fingers to elbows, hook up your fingers, start the gentle grip. Lifting through the right elbow, keep your knees squeezing together. Option to go deeper, resting lower elbow down, but keep pulling upwards, strong grip. Release the grip as you breathe in, palms touch, rise all the way. Step your feet a little bit apart and lower the arms down, coming back into the mountain, shoulder movement, softness perhaps, the rocking over the feet. Now turning towards the long side end of the mat and separating the feet. We'll begin with the right toes turning to the short side end, the left heel slightly out to the other. Taking a bend into the front knee, and perhaps there's room to widen the stance slightly further. An in-breath to reach the arms up. An out-breath to find an interlace of the hands behind the back. You might draw your arms down or even away from the back and begin to lift the heart. Gaze could come up as well if the neck allows you. Lift your chin and take a full breath over the front of your torso, right up through the throat, into the nose. And with the out breath, begin to lean, humble warrior, to the inside of your front knee. If you let go of your eye gaze, you might stumble, have a giggle. Arms can stay restful. Arms might lift away from the back. Keep a firm stance down into the outer edge of the back foot. So if you were to choose to look at that foot, you will see the arch away from the mat. At the front, your shoulder might keep the knee aligned with the toes. Let go of the head unless you need to stay halfway up for pressure management. 2 more breaths, humble warrior. Then release the hands after those 2 breaths to the floor. Walk them into the center of the feet. Turn the outer edges out to be parallel with each other and fold right down into Prasarita Padottanasana, the right-legged forward bend. Fingertips can be on the floor, but shoulders might be lightly lifted to the socket. Weight forward in your feet. A few breaths where you release to a forward fold. Knees bend definitely out of the lock. Then as you inhale, bend the knees, lift your upper body, and start to uncurl with the knees bent on an out breath to rise to stand. Shoulders rolling up and down as you come to land. Turning your left toes towards the short edge, the right heel to the other. Bending into the front knee so the lines over the ankle. Your stance can be adjusted. Perhaps it feels like it could be a bit wider. Same as on the other side. Breathe in to lift the arms out, but now find the odd interlace behind. Interlace naturally and change the fingers on top. Arms might lengthen down or away from the back as you lift your sternum. Option to raise the chin too if the neck allows you. Deep breaths over your front, even the throat to the nose. And on the out breath, begin to lean back towards the inside of the front knee. Keep the knee aligned with your toes. Let the shoulder help with that. Arms could rest or be lifted away from the back. The same here. If it's possible, let go of the head and take a look back at the arch of the back foot. Anchor the foot into its outer edge and then remain in humble warrior for a few breaths. As you release the hands, bring them back down towards the center of the feet. Then drop one knee down and the other, bringing your feet behind you, and perhaps the toes are tucked under. Sitting back towards the toes, and if it's possible, raise your knees. Now, if this crouching position isn't yours, you might sit on something and just bring the feet up close in front. Or to support, roll up the blanket and bring that underneath your heels. I will demonstrate that sideways, perhaps so you can see it better. So I'm basically having the heels supported now rather than balancing in that shape, which makes it more accessible for this body here on the mat. Doesn't mean that you will find this shape. Please don't be disheartened. You can sit on your bottom, have your feet out in front, and the knees coming together instead. Let's take a breath to open the arms and bring the hands back into Anjali Mudra. Ultimately, we're turning the hands again towards the elbows, right hand towards your chest, hooking up the fingers back to Ganesha Mudra. Take a pull as you breathe in, repeating kind of the chair pose movement. So start to raise the right elbow, pull on it, and add a twist. Lower elbow could rest down. Really stimulating now into the digestive system as well. As you inhale, let go of the pull, find the center, then pull again. Now it's the left elbow that pulls up, right elbow might land. Hold the pull, the breathe. And then releasing back into the center. Let the hands dissolve into Anjali Mudra. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, bring the hands down. Bring the knees down. You might release any support that you might have used, bring that back down onto the mat. Then swing your feet over to the side and come to sit. Well, it wasn't that clever to bring the support out of the way, so I'll bring that back in, but change it as I now fold the blanket. If you don't have the blanket to sit on, maybe roll up the back end of your mat, extending both of your legs out in front. Wiggling down onto your seat, turning your toes up to the ceiling. Feet might even be touching or hip distance apart if that's more comfortable. Bring the hands down by the sides of the hips or onto your support, but right snug into the sides of your body. Then push down and sit upright. Dandasana, south pose. You might be looking at your toes now, just holding here, or close the eyes. See if you can manage your breath to be easy and move down towards the belly. Feel the support that your arms are providing to lift you up into a tall seat. The effort in the whole body just to sit in that L shape. As you breathe in now, bend both of your knees, sway a little bit over the sitting bones, release the hands, and walk them forward towards Paschimottanasana, our seated forward bend. As you might rest your belly upon the sides, keep the shoulders easy. Hands can rest on the mat or on the legs, whatever is more supportive. Keep the toes towards the ceiling. Reach the spine forward towards your toes as you inhale, and then slowly lower the whole upper body over the legs. As you relax here, and if you can manage to keep the shoulders in the socket, you might find the forward bend comes more from the hips and could potentially be more supported. If you find you're easy here, there's a light stretch only in the backs of the legs. You could extend the legs a bit further out. The stretch is already where it needs to be, so there's no need to overextend the legs. Rather feel into the back. Can you still reach forward, get deeper into the bend from the hips, and gain extension in the backs of the legs? Then stay here and perhaps lengthening the out breath to let go in the physical body, looking for the relaxation response, which ultimately deepens the stretch. One last breath, holding the shape. When completed, lift halfway out on the inhale and come back out in a similar way you entered, walking, sliding the hands back, rising to a seat. The legs might fully extend. You could relax your feet and even wiggle your toes. We'll come to a Stonehenge position, and this is why we prepared so many props. You might have wondered, we haven't used them quite yet. So I will not only unfold, I will open the blanket further. I will use the blanket similar to last week perhaps, over the top end of the mat where my head is going. I have that blanket slightly reaching beyond the mat, so there's a little bit to tuck under if needed. Prepare that. If you're working with 2 blocks, if you're working with a couch, for example, come closer to the couch. Set your blanket up there. Now, for the Stonehenge position, place the blocks up on the highest setting, not too far apart, so that the bolster can come over the top. If you do have that bolster, grab it and then place it over the top of those blocks. You might find that they're slightly too close, too wide. Adjust that. When you can do this on the blocks, it will be solid. Now how to get onto these. The same as if you were to use a chair, a little footrest, or whatever you're using. Have this blanket ready. Sit as similar as we do when we come to legs up the wall, with the side of the hip a little bit away from it, but facing your construction. Then roll down onto your back and bring the legs up onto the Stonehenge. If you manage to bring them roughly where the blocks are, the construction will hold. Please take your time so that you feel fully supported here. No need to rush. If the Stonehenge falls apart, it's not a drama. Set it back up again and perhaps find that right distance between the blocks that's holding. On the couch, the bend in the knees will also be moderate. You're resting the calves down and the back is kind of flat on the floor. Now I'm noticing my chin is a little bit away from my throat, a little bit too far, not quite in neutral. So I will take the back end of the blanket, roll it up and place it double or triple underneath the head. So now my neck is in a much more neutral position. See if you can get to comfort here around neck as well. You got that? Wiggle the shoulder blade slightly under and let the arms fall open. Palms of the hands with that might look up towards the ceiling. And then see if you can trust your weight into your posture. As you come to land, let the body be. The whole body supported. Restful. The arms might be open to let go of any grip on the physical body. Benefits of Stonehenge position, as you might like to know, because we're using it as Shavasana replacement. It alleviates lower back, can create a deep presence, and you might even find a sense of rejuvenation. Trusting into the process of this hold. While you could choose to add a visualization to this practice. If you prefer to rest with your breath, feel free to do that. If you like to visualize, bring the attention into the open palms that are facing towards the ceiling. The fingers relaxed and soft. You might visualize holding some beautiful flowers, multiple colors, gently in your hand. Letting the flowers rest lightly without holding on too tightly. Visualize them in their form, their colors, perhaps even their scent. You might then see these flowers as your material possession, your relationship, and perhaps also your past experiences. With material possession, the tighter we hold on, the more we are weighted down. The more we become attached to something, the more we worry about losing it. If we hold on too tightly to our relationships, they may wilt or slip away. When we hold too tightly to the past, we don't realize the possibilities that are in the present. So as you might visualize the beautiful, delicate flowers and compare them to your possession, your relationship, and to your personal history, you might learn that they are to be treated with gentleness and kindness. And sometimes it is necessary to let them go. Aparigraha means non-grasping and refers to the absence of attachment and greed. Aparigraha teaches us to take only what we need, keep only what serves us in the moment, and let go when the time is right. The card that came up for our practice today, coming from the Namaste deck, might be of support. It is blessings from your soul. You are a radiant being with many unique talents. Look with eyes of love and you will see this. Feel the creative power within you and the blessings pouring in as the healing light of your soul flows into every part of you. Rest in awareness for a little bit longer. You might now begin to gently deepen your breath, perhaps keeping the body still for a few rounds. Then acting, if it feels right, with gentle movement or stretching. You might come to a point where you'd like to roll over, coming away from your Stonehenge position. Don't worry if it tumbles over now. Bring the knees lightly towards the chest and rest on your side for a couple of breaths or more. Where you might begin to turn yourself to a seated position. And perhaps the hands join again in Anjali Mudra at heart center of your chest. Subtle smile might come up on your face as you think about these beautiful flowers. The love that comes from your heart. Before extending with the bow to connect with each other. Namaste.